Wherever this finds you, I hope this finds you well. I'm Ben from Ben64 Console Curator, and today we're going to be taking a look at some JSAUX products to see if they can't make their case for the Nintendo Switch 2. Without further delay, let's get into it. Today marks a momentous day, a milestone if you will for the Ben64 Console Curator channel, and it's all thanks to you. We have our first item sent for review. That's right guys, it's finally happening and you've been along for the ride. Big shout out and thanks to you guys, and a big shout out to JSAUX. They ended up sending us the Split Protective Case for the Switch 2 plus their thumb grip set, and I couldn't be more stoked to bring this review to you today. Now, that said, no money has exchanged hands in any way, shape, or form. All opinions are my own, and this review has not been seen prior to its release. As always, I'll have links to the products in the description below, and if you find yourself wanting to pick one of these bad boys up because you like what you see, it is JSAUX's 9-year anniversary, and they are celebrating with a slew of sales and flash deals going around for the next 3.5 weeks. So I'll also have their information linked below. You can go check it out when you're done with this review and see if they have anything in store for you. This comes in a few different iterations. There's one that comes with the front plate. There's one that comes just with the grips themselves. I ended up getting the full kit and caboodle because I wanted to see how this works as a whole system and ecosystem that JSAUX has created. So here it is before us. Packaging aside, we have the split case from JSAUX for the Switch 2. We can see that we have both of the very durable Joy-Con holders here. We have this center plate. Center plate is largely going to be used to keep your Switch from getting scratches and scuffs and things of that nature. Things that collectors and people like myself really care about. And I think that in conjunction with the top here, it's going to prove to be a very solid option that's going to be very protective and give you the confidence to throw it into your bag and take it on the go. So now we're going to find out how easy or difficult it is to do the install. The Switch 2 has entered the chat. I'm going to start by disconnecting the Joy-Cons here. And then I think the first thing I'm going to do is try to fix the back plate onto the Switch 2 itself here. Now that I have my Switch 2 in hand, I'm going to pop the back plate on here. It feels like there's a bit of a lip on both the top and the bottom, so I think you can probably come at this either way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use the rubber pieces that are on the bottom of the Switch 2 to line up with the holes that are on either side of this case and make sure I can get a good fit that way. And that just snapped right on and into place. That was very easy actually. And the kickstand is very easy to access. That's actually easier than I was anticipating it would be, so that's a nice pleasant surprise. And you can see that this is going to stop scratches or anything like that, you know, keys or anything that would be in a bag that could scuff up the back of your Switch, so that's going to be really nice. We can see how well and accurate the machining is on the top here. I still maintain full access to my game card slot. It pops out nice and simple. I have access to the charging port, the 3.5mm for headphones. I also still maintain and retain that cooling vent, which is nice. And we also have even a little cutout for the microphone. So they really thought of everything when they were making this. And we still have full access to the switches here, so that is lovely to see as well. Now we're gonna see how easy or difficult it is to get the Joy-Cons in place. I'm gonna slip it in triggers first and pop it in, and it just pops right in. And it does confirm my suspicions before that these little rubber pads are a great way to keep the Joy-Cons in place in their respective parts of the case. What I'm finding is that there's actually kind of like a nice trick to doing this really smoothly. I'm going to place the top half in first using the buttons as a guide. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this down slightly and then slide it in that way. So you can see that like now I'm kind of in, we're at a little bit of an angle, but when I push that way, everything just lines up. And that's a really easy way to do it. And that way you don't feel like you're kind of forcing plastic over plastic that's going to lead to scratches. So I'm really happy with the result of that. That felt really, really good. And so let's snap these sides in here and see what the full package entails. That clicks in really easy, of course. As does that. And just like that, it is fully in place. We have the JSAUX Split Protective Case mounted on our Switch. Oh, that is worlds better. As some of you may know, if you watched the previous Switch 2 full review or the sub 20-minute version, I'll have links in the description below to check out. One of my biggest gripes with the Switch 2 was the ergonomics or lack thereof. But I mentioned that there was going to be a lot of people coming with cases and grips and things of that nature. And this is exactly what I was talking about. It just feels so nice. We got some cheeks here. We got some cake, if you will. And it feels great to have that. That texture feels really nice. Feels like it's going to be great with sweat and anything like that. And I'll tell you what, you guys make me nervous sometimes. So there's a little bit of sweat and it's having no problem on these Joy-Cons at all, which is lovely to see. Those magnetic brakes are working perfectly, as one probably would have expected when seeing how well engineered this is. Now let's see how the top goes on here and how that works, because that's really one of the important factors. And wow, I have to say that feels really secure. And this definitely feels like something I would be willing to throw into a bag, messenger bag, backpack, anything of that nature, with a lot less concern of anything happening to it. We have a lot of protection going on here for the joysticks. We actually have a charging port for the top. And I didn't actually notice this at first, but we can see that the top case extends pretty far down over the triggers. And that gives you a lot of bump protection. So I can see how this would have a lot of protection for, you know, short falls and scrapes and a lot of impact absorption properties when you have this front plate on and in place. Here it is from the back. We can see that we can't remove the Joy-Cons when it's in a closed state. Those bumper and trigger protectors come over to secure the Joy-Cons in place. That is my preference. Let's remove that top and just see how easy that is. We are going to focus on using this portion of the case and that little lever that they created for a fulcrum point. Yep, so that just kind of pops off right there. You can see that we've kind of started to get that detachment there, which is nice. Once you have it this far off, you can just pop it off that way. Let's see how easy it is to fasten that top faceplate into place. We are going to place the switch into it top first and use this as kind of a catch, and then we are going to clip down the case like so. So I'm going to slide it on like that over the top. You can see that I have mounted the top here successfully on the Switch 2, and then I'm just going to give it a push, and it just snaps right into place. It feels nice and secure that way. Now, of course, we also have the thumb grips here for the Switch 2. We're going to throw those on and see if the case still fits with those on the Switch 2 itself. And we have 3 different types here. This also comes in a full black set if you're not looking to have the color accents or pops. But we can see we have 3 unique designs: premium anti-slip texture, anti-baby. No, it's a choking hazard for kids under 3, of course, and it increases the accuracy for Switch 2. So let's get into that. The little packet here even has a diagram set up to show you how to apply your thumb grips, but I think those of us who have any experience at all with thumb grips will probably have no problem getting those on there. So now we have our thumb grips out. We can take a look at those. Looking at them one at a time, we can see that this is kind of your standard thumb grip. Conversely, this middle one, we actually have some ridges on the outside here that you can see. So this is great for people who want to use kind of the side steering method where they're pushing or pulling down on the sticks. And then we have option number 3. It looks kind of like a Reese's or something. We have some ribbing on the side. We actually have a little bit of an indent here on this side as well. So you can use that ring for steering. And this is probably the one that I'm most curious about. I'll mess around with them a little bit and see which one I like best over time. We can see that I ended up installing the candy grip on the left side here, and it actually has a little bit of lift to it. You know, that's probably like 3/8 of an inch or so. But that extra distance coming off the stick makes it feel like it gives you a little bit more control and precision over that stick. Alternatively, we have like the outer grip style ring on this side, and that feels really nice and buttery smooth. Finally, I would like to see if this top fits on top of the grip case here with those joysticks in place. I do not know. Snap it into place. And it does. It fits completely. Ho ho ho! That is an awesome, awesome design cue that they ended up using at JSAUX. And it makes it so this really is an ecosystem. And that is something that I love to see when we're looking at grips. I'm not in danger of pushing sticks down or having them wear out over time, which is a lovely thing. And it means that your protective case is in fact protecting. So that's exactly what we want to see. Checking and doing a seat test. When we pop this out, we can see that there is plenty of space in here for that little candy cup grip there, the thumb grip, and for the edge grip that we have over there. This case makes the Switch 2 so ergonomic and so much more comfortable than it was before, but there are, of course, more things to consider as this is a hybrid handheld console. Of course, that means that we want to maintain accessibility and viewing angles in tabletop mode among the other modes that we might be using on the Switch 2. And that means that we want to make sure the Switch 2's kickstand is easily accessed. I find that this little divot here makes it so you can easily access the kickstand here and adjust it to your pleasure. Looking at it from a profile view, you can see that we maintain full range of motion of that kickstand, and that by extension means that we retain full access to all the viewing angles included with the stock Switch 2 viewing experience when utilizing tabletop mode. Additionally, for me, one important factor is dockability when fully clad in this protective armor. And that, of course, is why we have our Switch 2 dock right here today. This is going to be the dock test. Setting the dock upright, we're going to do 2 tests. We are going to do a 2-hand dock test, which of course I expect it to pass, and it passes with flying colors. And we're gonna remove it with 2 hands and see how easy that is. And again, flying colors, easy pass. Now we're gonna try the one-hand docking experience. I'm just gonna drop it in with 1 hand. Nice and secure, no problems there, no wiggle waggle, no wobble wobble. That feels great. And pulling it out here, let's see how that goes. Yeah, that feels wonderful. So I have to say, the docking experience with the Switch 2 in the JSAUX Protective Case is a seamless 1-hand or 2-hand experience with great dockability, and everything feels nice and snug as a bug in a rug. Of course, no in-depth review would be complete without checking out mouse mode functionality and making sure that the mouse mode attachments function fully with the JSAUX Split Protective Case. So we are going to do that as well. If you haven't messed around with mouse mode yet, I ended up doing a round of Fortnite and messing around with it, and I had a whole lot of fun and did a whole lot better than I expected. What was supposed to be a functionality test turned into a full-blown no-build round. So if that's the type of thing that interests you, link is in the description below. Check that out. But let's see how well this mounts with the JSAUX split case in place here. All right, that clicks right in. And then, of course, putting it into the mouse direction, it still feels nice and stable. Maybe a little bit more tip-heavy, but that's to be expected with this big ergonomic grip. Ooh. Oh, that feels really, really nice. It feels a lot more mouse-like than the stock Switch 2 experience without the grip. So it's nice to see that this is ergonomic both when you have it faced, this way and are using it as a controller, and if you have it in mouse mode and are using it this way. The ergonomics of the grip here actually serve well in mouse mode because your fingers kind of wrap around it and it gives it a little bit of extra stability. You don't find your knuckles dragging on the tabletop or surface that you're utilizing. So putting it in mouse mode and going this way feels really secure and intuitive. I have to say that I expected that the mouse mode attachment would fit well with the JSAUX grip, but it feels so much better than I anticipated. And there's no knuckle rub happening, despite the fact that my fingers are underneath the grip here. So showing it to you from another angle, if this was the tabletop or the surface that I was playing on utilizing mouse mode, you can see that it goes right here and I have full movement, but my knuckles are not dragging. See that little clearance there? So I actually have full security and it feels great moving on that surface without any knuckle drag. That's the same thing that's happening when I rotate it down here and I'm doing it on the table. And that's one of the reasons that it feels so great and secure in the hand, even in mouse mode. So if you've been on the hunt for a Switch 2 case that is as ergonomic as it is dockable and yet still maintains nice protective functionality so you can toss it into a bag on your next adventure, I would certainly consider checking out the JSAUX Split Protective Case for the Switch 2. Of course, this is on sale right now, usually priced at $29.99, but 9-year anniversary sale is happening over at JSAUX, and I know for a fact that you can get both the Split Protective Case for the Switch 2 as well as the thumb grips on sale. So keep that in mind. Again, that link is in the channel description below. Check out JSAUX if that is something that interests you. That way, when you find yourself on your next adventure with the Switch 2, it doesn't have to venture into the world naked, people. We have a special giveaway coming up for that 350 subscriber benchmark, and I hope you will be around to celebrate with us and maybe win some gear. If you like what you saw or you have interest in seeing more, feel free to like and subscribe. If you found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, like and subscribe. And as always, this is Ben from Ben64 Console Creator saying the past, it's present, and the future, it's what you make it.